Well, thank you so much for being so engaged already, everybody. And we're at 5 after the hour. Let's roll. Okay, guys, here's the plan. I've got three amazing guests today: Mitch, Bowie, and Tom, all of who have very different approaches to their YouTube. So I'm just going to say right now that even people who have a ton of experience, I can pretty much guarantee you're going to hear something you've never thought of before. Mitch is, full disclosure, one of my coaching partners. He works with me, and I just think this guy is like this creative genius. I always tease him that he's like the lazy genius because he's always coming up with amazing ways to grow his business. But he's like, but I don't want to do it, right? So he's always got like a cool twist, and he's done really, really well for himself. Runs a big team, and I think the thing that I love the most about the way that Mitch approaches YouTube is it's remarkably creative, and it's all kinds of little out of the box things that you might not have thought of that really actually can make you more recognizable in your community. So he's using it as a leverage point for visibility, to boost himself in listing presentations, stuff like that. And I'm can't wait to hear some of the stuff that he's going to share with us. Bowie is this analytical mastermind, and Bowie doesn't even sell houses. What Bowie does is he runs a program where he helps realtors sell houses, and he produces YouTube videos, and he has this intricate marketing follow-up and conversion system that books listing appointments for realtors. And if you want something that's either going to make you sweat or puke, I'm going to get him to show us his follow-up systems, because it is like one of the most intricate and intense machines I've ever seen someone actually build. So it's really neat. And then we have Tom. And Tom is just an outstanding example of someone who has done an amazing job and has built like the finished product. Like if you could have a YouTube channel that is crushing it, Tom's crushing it. He's been doing it for years. And I don't know how many subs you're at now. Probably over 20,000, right, Tom?
15.
15,000 subs. If you aren't familiar with YouTube, subscribers are insanely hard to get. So he only has 15. I kind of oversold it. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm just teasing you. But it's an incredible accomplishment to get a page to that tenure and to have people still engaging. So I'm excited to hear about his journey and just anything you can share looking back. But what I want to do is I want to build our way up. Okay, so we're going to start with Mitch. And our plan today is pretty loose. I've got a general idea. I'm going to give each of these people about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to have a conversation with them. I'm going to ask all the questions I can come up with, because again, I'm being a little selfish today. I want to make sure that I get as much of this from as I can. And then we're going to take a couple quick minutes for questions. We'll probably get through the main dialogue in the first hour. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're just going to save some time to have an open discussion. So stick around. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to start with Mitch. And I'm going to just quickly spotlight me and my man over here. Boom. Mitch, thanks for doing this, man. You're awesome.
Of course. Anytime. I like that you said you're gonna start at the bottom. I'm 6'3". But let's go. What questions awesome. You got for me?
No, and it's not that one person. Well, I mean, Tom does have 15,000 subs.
He does. Remarkable. I have sub envy, because I worked really hard for 6 months begging everyone I knew to subscribe to my channel, and I think I have 1,200, and I just was like, this is it was the most impossible thing to get subscribers. But I took a class similar to this, and this is where I want to start. Like what I'm saying before you ask the questions is that I would take these classes and I would hear that these were great ideas, and then I would write them down, and then one day I would say I was going to get to them, and then months or years later I would never get to it. So please take notes, please ask questions, please follow us, but then also please put in your calendar time to actually do what you learned. Right? Because too many times we take these classes, we write it down. I had a coaching call with Bowie earlier today, and I told him, I'm like, I feel like it's the season of reasons. like reason, like excuses, the seasons of excuses, right? Well, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too dry, it's too wet, right? So just make sure that if you do anything in this class, you put in your calendar a time to look for YouTube. So, um, what do you got for me, Sean?
Awesome.
Fire away.
I like Season of Reasons. It's got a good I don't know. It works. I'm
Well, we
liking
were
it.
talking about how it was the interest rate, and now it's the in the U.S. It was the interest rate during the summer. Now it's the interest rates come down. Now the excuse is the election. Then the holidays is going to be the excuse, and then rinse and repeat. Right? It's the season of excuses, and so the only real excuse is you didn't want to do it. You didn't make it a priority. That's the only real reason you didn't do it. So
Wait to see what we come up with next year. But seriously though, and you touched on something I think is a chronic problem in real estate is we've got all these entrepreneurial people. Everyone's really smart, and we have an abundance now of opportunities to learn. And so we hear all this cool stuff. So look back on what made you originally decide to get into YouTube. What was it that made you, from all the different things that you'd heard, you went to all these sessions, you met all these amazing people, you heard all these brilliant minds share what they were doing. What was it that made you decide YouTube?
So I'm old enough to remember when YouTube launched, right? And when YouTube launched, I was in comedy at the time, and I figured out how to manipulate the algorithm that I could get any YouTube video to go viral in 48 hours. So I was all in on YouTube when it first launched. But then um, YouTube changed its the way it ranked videos, so that wasn't working. And then something new and shiny came around, right? Facebook, Instagram, Vine. Vine went away. Then we got TikTok. And so I kept following those trends. And then this lender came to my team meeting and gave us a 30-minute pitch on YouTube. And he said something that I want back everyone to put in the chat. All right. I want you to put or you just raise your hands if you want. Like, if you think about when was the last time you went on Facebook versus when was the last time you went on YouTube? And when he asked that question, he goes, when was the last time you went on Facebook? People were like 3 days, 5 days, 2 days. I've never been on it, right? And he said, who's been on YouTube for the last 24 hours? And everyone in the room had raised their hand. And I was like, oh, right? And then he mentioned Google owns YouTube. So YouTube's never going to fail when one of the largest companies in the world that kind of controls all of the information right now owns it. And I was like, oh. And then he gave me this fact. He said, a Instagram and TikTok video, unless it goes viral, which very few do, has a shelf life of 48 hours to 72 hours. A YouTube video has a shelf life of 5 to 7 years. And I was like, whoa. So those things made me, and what he had us do, one of the tricks he had us do right away to show us the power of YouTube was he said, you're calling people all day long. You're calling people all day long trying to get them on the phone. You want to buy your house? You want to sell your house? You want to buy your house? You want to sell your house, right? He goes, when someone doesn't recognize your number, what they do is they Google it. So when you Google your phone number, what comes up? And when I did it, it was like some random website and this and that. He said, now what I want you to do is I want you to take your cell phone. So every excuse that you have about not making a video is brouhaha because you all have a smartphone, right? So we went outside and I filmed a video. Literally, I'm standing in front of my house in a tree. And it was right after COVID. So I had shaved my head because I was giving myself a haircut. And I said, if you just got a phone call from 310-770-4121, that's me, Mitch Stein. Most likely, I'm trying to do a real estate deal with you. And then I explain who I am. I posted that video maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm gonna put my phone number in the chat. I am still in the US, the #1 result 4 years later when you Google my phone number. It's me telling you who I am. But the point was, I went to #1 in Google in 24 hours. So I was like, man, can I do this with other things? I am gay. So I did a video, gay real estate agent in Pomona. Within 24 hours, when you Googled gay real estate agent in Pomona, I was number one. My fiance is gay. So I gave him Laverne. When you Google gay real estate agent in Laverne, it's number one. Have someone in my office who speaks Spanish. So we filmed YouTube videos saying Spanish speaking real estate agent in Pomona. We were number one. For most of those things that we posted there, years later, we're still number one when you Google those. So that was the third thing that I sort of learned was that Google is going to rank the SEO, the keywords that you put in a YouTube video higher than they are for anything else. Because let's face it, people go to the internet to see video. They don't want to read blogs anymore. They want to see a video. They want to hear a podcast.
I mean, even if I'm trying to figure out how to switch my kid's car seat, or, you know, my car recently, the microphone decided it didn't want to work, which obviously I use that a lot for driving around and talking on the phone. I Googled it, and the first result was always a YouTube video. Turns out, by the way, guys, you just unplug the battery for 10 minutes and plug it back in. Didn't even have to go to the shop. I'm literally that handy. It's amazing. Impressed my wife. And it's just they want you to search and use a video as the solution. So I think this is just a brilliant example of like the little things that you can do. It doesn't have to be some ornate, massive thing for you to just have some simple little solutions that have come to you through YouTube. How long have you been going, Mitch?
So I started being serious about YouTube about 2 years ago. So I would say about 2 years ago. And what I was doing originally was I was just like, well, can I do this with SEO? One of the tricks that you can do is before a house is listed, there's not a lot of movement on it. So I started using it. I would go on a listing appointment. If I didn't sign the listing appointment right away, I would go outside and I would film a video thanking them for their time in front of their house. And then I would title the video the address of their home. And typically within a couple hours on Google, that video would be number one on Google. So then my follow-up text message was, do me a favor, Google your address. If I can do that this fast, if I can get you to the first spot on Google this quickly, imagine how many people I can get to see your house. Right? And so I started just doing tricks like that. I would try things out. You were talking about in-game. I coach a gentleman up in Alberta, and he was giving me the excuse of the season was that he couldn't door knock because it was snowy and everyone was out of town because they were all snowbirds. And I said, well, start doing videos about being a snowbird. Right? So we do these videos. Most real estate agents already do these videos for Instagram, for Facebook, right? But they just skip over YouTube. And for me, it's all about the title, right? The clickbait. But it needs to be something. And some of these videos didn't get a lot of hits, but when people click on them, they were getting the information that they wanted. So I'll give you an example. My fiance, Justin, if you type in Laverne, California, gay real estate agent, he's the #1 video. Okay. It has like 20 views, but he's done 2 transactions. Because when someone's typing that into Google, that's what they're looking for. And when they click on it and they see a video of a gay real estate agent in Laverne, that's exactly who they want to talk to. The conversion is really high. And again, it took him 3 minutes to make that video, and it's been up there for 2 years.
Okay, so hold on though. I love this because it's simple. It's a 3-minute thing. And you've given a couple examples. So we have the phone number, like an orientation thing or a language thing. What are some other ways that you think people could identify themselves to connect with a certain group on one of these maybe low volume but high results videos?
I think you just have to, take who you are and know, the best advice my dad gave me when I got into real estate. I was in my early 40s when I got into real estate, and I was like, am I too old to start a new career? And this is what he said to me. He goes, you're not too old, you're not too fat, you're not too tall, you're not too white, you're not too gay, because there's millions of people that fit in that demographic, right? So what I realized was, what makes you special? Put that on YouTube, because why do we hire real estate agents? Because we know, like, and trust them, right? So if they're searching for something, they see a video and they click on it and it's exactly what they're looking for, it's got a very high conversion. So, for example, someone on my team is Jewish. So Jewish real estate agent in Pomona. There's not a lot of them. My city is very Hispanic, right? So she went in front of her temple one day and she said, if you're looking for a Jewish, and boom, it just sort of happened. So be who you are, but tell people who you are. The great thing about YouTube is the only people that are going to see the video are the people searching for it. So find those things in your life that make you special. Maybe it's, I'm the aficionado on outdoor train sets. Like, it doesn't really, there is a market for all of those people in real estate. So find out who you are and do that. I think the thing that I started to realize too was that people were coming up to me and they were like, oh, I saw your video about this, or I saw your video about that. And so I tried to expand it. And what I did was, I had filmed this commercial for Facebook. And I had this commercial already done that I was running on Facebook. And I was like, can I run it on YouTube? So put it on YouTube. I did this all myself. I typed in a little budget and I was like, go YouTube, go. $20 a day, I think I was spending at the time. And I started having people like walk up to me at like the grocery store and they'd be like, I saw your ad on YouTube. I was in lunch at a buffet, like a buffet line, and my ex-husband's divorce attorney walked up to me, pulled me out of line to tell me he saw my ad. And I started realizing that what it was doing was, it was kind of farming, right? My 12-year-old daughter doesn't watch television. She only watches YouTube. So she'll run into the room when my commercial comes up. She'll be like, look. And the thing that I loved about it was that with YouTube, you can do just a specific zip code, right? So I was like, this is like virtually farming. And it just all sort of clicked to me with the idea of, we teach people about touches. How many times are you touching someone, right? How many times are they seeing your face? I'm reading a book, Frantically Prospecting, and he says it's about consistent, persistent touches, right? Consistent and persistently being in front of them. So it doesn't matter what the video is, it's that they're seeing it, right? And the thing about YouTube that's great is, even if they don't subscribe, if they click on one of your videos, YouTube starts suggesting more of your videos. That makes sense? YouTube's like, you liked them once, let's see if you like them again.
I love the long-term visibility, and I love the fact that it's something that's so evergreen. Mitch, we're going to come back and chat with you more. I want to quickly just scan the chat, and I do want to make sure as well that I move over to Bowie. And it looks like we're good for questions. Guys, one thing I'll mention is, if you do have questions along the way, drop them in the chat. I'm not going to leave it open the whole time because it gets a little distracting, but I will come back at the end of every guest.
Anthony kind of reiterated what I said. He said, so making sure keywords are strong is important. Good stuff. Absolutely. And so, but the video also has to look, how many times have you clicked on a video and you've had to wait to get to the answer, or it wasn't really it was just clickbait. Like, I don't want you going out making a whole bunch of YouTube videos that don't make sense, but specialize in something. If you speak a second language, then you should be doing YouTube videos promoting that, right? If you are retired military, you should be doing YouTube videos about that, because these are things that people are Googling to find a real estate agent, right? And hyper local. So for me, it's like, you know, I lean into, you know, the fact that I'm gay. I also lean into the fact that I'm a dad. I also lean into the fact that I have a beard. I have videos about the bearded real estate agent. Like it's because I don't know, maybe someone will want to work with someone with a beard versus not a beard. Sean's a redhead. Maybe they trust redheads more than they do gray-haired silver foxes. I don't know. But putting these videos out there, what I like about it is that you have this shelf life and you know, play around. Sometimes you throw stuff up, it works. Sometimes it doesn't. The most popular video I have up there is me talking about Irene Cara. Like you never know what's going to hit and what's not, but we do convert quite a bit from when we do a specialized video. Can you
So the thing, the I think what I've heard, just to like generalize, like put it all into a crystal ball, is like basically what you want to do is just choose things that are unique about you and your personality and lean into them. Don't try to be the everything person. You're way better off to have 10 raving fans than 1,000 people who saw you once and thought meh. Um, I really think just be you and lean into it. Choose a few things that might connect you with other people and make that the forefront. Okay, I'm going to jump on to the next guest. Mitch, stick around. You're awesome. Thank you so much. We did have a question from Van about using pop music from Facebook Reels that's licensed by Facebook. I think the short answer is probably not. They're pretty
No,
tight
no,
about
no,
that
no.
stuff. Even
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes and no. So it's kind of hit or miss because what'll happen is that because YouTube Music is involved, if you use a song that the artist is okay with you using, they will monetize it. So what happens is say Black Eyed Peas is like, yes, YouTube, you can use our music. Then what happens is if you use their music in a video, any royalties that they make from that video will just go to Black Eyed Peas and not to you. So there's websites where you can say what popular music can I use on my YouTube videos, and it'll tell you.
awesome. Bowie,
So
can you
every
do me a quick favor? Can you raise your virtual hand? I'm having trouble finding you in the stack of people here, and it's just going to make my life
Go
a little
ahead.
easier. You are up next,
Yes,
mister.
yes, sir. Here I am.
There you are. Mitch, thank you so much.
This is the perfect segue, Mitch, in terms of copyright and music. But first and foremost, thank you, Sean, for having me. I'm excited to be here, man. Excited to show some value. I think it'll be helpful for everyone here.
I'm going to just get it out of the way early and do a little bit of full disclosure. The reason I met Bowie is because he's been working with Mitch for a while. Bowie does run a business, so if you want to connect with him, you're welcome to. We have no connection financially to whether or not people talk to him afterwards. I want him to come here because I don't know of someone who's an actual agent who has gone through the level of research and frankly just sophistication in building what Bowie's built. So I think it's important for you to see. So I wanted to throw that out there. Bowie, you are awesome, and I'm super grateful that you took the time to kind of jump in with us here. I'm really excited about this. And um, if it's okay, I want to just paint a bit of a landscape here because Mitch was sharing a lot of cool creative things that he was doing, and most of them he pumped a little bit of money into his YouTube account for sure, right? These $20 a day on his like, hey, I'm Mitch or video or whatever. Um, and yet the goal outcome from what Mitch was doing when he invested in his YouTube channel was mostly surrounding boosting his organic growth. So he was doing things and he wanted to get more eyeballs on him. And so he was spending money on it, but it was not a targeted lead conversion machine. It was more like, hey, if you're looking for a gay realtor, if you're looking for a Spanish realtor, if you're looking for someone who's part of this group, or you like doing cold plunges, or you shave your head, like come be with me. We can have shaved heads together. And that's just kind of the way that he approached it. I think it's a really great community builder. I think it's a huge trust builder. And it's definitely a smart way to look at using YouTube. You're a little different though, aren't you, Bowie?
I am. And so pretty much to sum that all up, it's, organic content is tremendously important, right? Kudos to Tom with 15 subs. 15 subs is very hard to come by. You have to be really, really, really consistent with your content. And content takes time to edit, make sure the voiceover is good. But, organic content, and here's me playing devil's advocate, it's kind of a spray and pray, right? So let's say somebody goes on, you know, the video that you put out organically, right? Let's say if I'm like, oh, great, Sean, I saw your video. You seem like a great fit. I'd love to give you, an interview, right? How can they reach out to you? Are they going to message you? Are they going to comment on your video saying like, hey, what's your phone number? Right? Obviously, I know a lot of realtors have their information on their profile. Surprisingly, a lot also don't. They're not accessible. But, I think that, I'd love to show the full playbook and, forgive me if I sound salesy at all. I want to be clear. I'm not here to sell anything to anyone. We're not taking on any new clients till the top of the year. Mitch is more than a handful. I'm kidding, Mitch. We love you. Oh, I'm kidding, Mitch. We love you. But I'd love to share some of my background just so you guys can be like, all right, who is this guy, and why should I listen to what he has to say? So I've actually been an agent for 8 years, and to be clear, I was not a real estate agent. I was a talent agent in Hollywood for 8 years. And so instead of brokering property like you guys do, I brokered talent. And so what I did was I would have to go out there and find my artists, quote unquote, prospects, convince them to take a meeting with me. And when I'm in that meeting, convince them to let us represent them to negotiate opportunities on their behalf for a commission. Sounds similar, doesn't it? Right? And so I was doing that for quite a while. And I know you guys are asking, like, all right, so how does a Hollywood talent agent get to real estate? So by the ripe age of 30, after doing, probably my entire 20s in Hollywood, I decided that I want to jump into my first passion, which is real estate. And so I was in the process after I quit. My boss thought I was crazy. It was like, why are you throwing away your entire career? I thought I wanted to be a realtor. In the process of getting my license, I was like, all right, I guess I need leads. What do I do? And I was really embarrassed to reach out to my SOI because at this point in my career, everyone in my network was in Hollywood. Everybody was like big time. And so I was really like nervous and embarrassed. And so what I did was, let me look into online leads. And then I think this was 2.5 years ago, I started running Facebook ads. And even up until that point, if you were running Facebook ads, I was already behind the 8 ball. And, we had this conversation before, Sean, when you do Facebook ads, it's great till it's not. And, the number one issue is the lead quality. And so, I stumbled upon YouTube and here we are. And so, I think we're going to lead into me showing you guys the funnel, the full playbook, which I'm really excited to show you guys because it's a new strategy that's brand new to the market. A lot of you guys are not familiar with it. It might not be the right time for some folks here, but it's important to know that it exists and it's tremendously helpful.
So, if you don't mind, just before we get into that, though, what I think would be really cool is if you could help us look at the difference between, like, what's the difference between leads that come out of YouTube and leads that come out of Facebook or Instagram?
Great question. So with YouTube, again, to Mitch's point, right? YouTube is owned by Google. Google is the number one search engine in the world. So that makes YouTube the second biggest search engine in the world, right? And so you are targeting. So what we call with Facebook is called a shotgun approach, right? Where you're kind of just scattered around. I don't know who runs Facebook ads here, but I'm sure you get low quality leads. With YouTube, it's very targeted. We call it the sniper approach, where, if let's say you're in North Carolina and Raleigh and, you're Jane Doe, you're looking to downsize, you're like, homes for sale near me. Guess what? The ads that you put out are going to be targeting those folks instead of just people that are doom scrolling. When I was an ISA and I was calling leads from my Facebook ads, like, hey, so that you opted in for a seller lead. Like, who are you? Why are you calling me? Oh, right. My son accidentally hit took my iPad, right? Versus YouTube leads. These are folks that are in market or soon to be in market. So the quality is higher and the conversion rate is higher. So you're spending more time dealing with people that are motivated and serious versus people that are just scrolling on social media. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I also think the hidden perk too is it's video. So if you're putting up Facebook ads, you might get a picture of yourself, but you don't have that 5 to 10 seconds of saying something as a human to another human through video, obviously. So I love the idea of also having the opportunity to build a little bit of virtual rapport, which is really cool.
Absolutely. And I want to add a stat. And to your point, I'm a huge analytics guy. And so here's a fun fact, a fun statistic that everyone should know. It takes 11 touch points for anyone to want to buy, purchase, or hire you for a service. And right now, we're in what I like to call a trust recession, right? How many people go to restaurants before they can go to a restaurant, they go on Yelp and they're looking at the reviews, right? They're like, oh, this place is bad. Oh, this this Mexican place has really bad burritos. I'm not going to go there. But you haven't even tried it yourself, right? And so with YouTube, the beautiful thing about it is, like you said, Sean, right? You're building rapport, right? And a lot of the agents that are dominating right now are the ones that are technically really just celebrity agents, right? Because people want money, but behind money is status. So they want a realtor that's like, oh, he's popular. I want him to rep me, right? And so when you're, and Mitch brought up, Mitch, I'm going to steal your a really interesting point that he made where, because when I was going into this, I was telling realtors like, hey, you don't have to door knock no more, et cetera, et cetera. Then Mitch made a really interesting point where if you're running your ads, you should continue to obviously do outreach and door knock, but are you going to let a friend in or are you going to let a stranger, right? If you're knocking on doors without running ads, you open the door, like, who are you? Oh, I'm so-and-so, get out of here, right? But if you're knocking on the door and be like, oh, I've seen your ads like 3 times, right? So you're more likely to let a friend in versus a stranger. So you're attacking on all angles. So you're building trust and you're the authority figure in your market, digital farming.
All right. I agree with everything you said, except for one thing. And that was that comment about Yelp, because I don't even trust Yelp anymore. But let's keep going. Anyone who has ever made the mistake of bumping elbows with Yelp's sales department knows that they're not promoting businesses that are good. They want your money. Okay, here's the deal. You've built this machine, and I'm a bit of a geek. I'm not the type that can sit still enough to get as analytical and detailed as you are, but I'm a total geek and I love stuff like this. I want to save as much of our time together as we can for you to show us some stuff. And Bowie, I'm going to let you kind of lead the charge on this. Did you want to start by kind of showing us how you generate the leads, or did you want to show us what you do afterwards, and maybe we'll just kind of describe where the leads come from?
Yeah, so I think the best way to go about this, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share, I'll do a quick overview of just YouTube statistics, take like 10 seconds, and then I'm going to show you the entire playbook, the entire funnel that we use. And then I'll also share with you the follow-up process. And so it'll just be a few tabs and we'll just run right through and show you the metrics. So with that being said, let me share my screen really quickly. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Great. So just to reiterate, YouTube is owned by Google, right? And so YouTube, that makes YouTube the second largest search engine in the world. Now, to piggyback off that, YouTube ads are the new TV commercial. So if you look at this chart right now, excuse me, YouTube is actually the highest performing stream outside of Netflix, Prime Video, Hulu, you name it. Okay. And so the beautiful thing about this is that you no longer need an enterprise budget. What do I mean by that? You know, you're not Coca-Cola where you're paying an advertising agency $40,000 a month, a quarterly, payment just so they can run your ads on major networks like CBS, NBC, Fox. Like those days are gone. What you can do is now have an affordable budget to run ads prime time to your direct target audience. Okay. So we are in a whole new world. Google ads are the new billboards, and I'm sure you guys already know this. So any questions, concerns, death threats before I move on and show you guys the fun?
I just keep rolling. What we'll do is we're going to go through all this stuff. We're going to hurt everybody's brain sufficiently, and then we'll do all the questions at the end. Otherwise, it's going to be too bumpy.
Cool. So,
and guys, I'll just say too, drop your questions in the chat so that we make sure we get back to all of you.
Yeah, so I'm just going to run the entire playbook. This is the entire funnel from A to Z. Okay, so obviously we just start with the ad itself. So in terms of ads, I want to I want to push home two main points here with the ads. When I mean ads and the creatives, you really guys want to just focus on two things when you're running these ads. One is your hook, okay? You have 5 seconds for in-stream ads to be able to skip. I'm sure you guys have seen YouTube ads all the time. You have 5 seconds and then you can skip. So in this case, consumer behavior has changed. You have 5, they say 5 seconds, but I think you have less than 3, okay? So the hook is very, very important. If you don't have a hook, your ad is, none of it matters. The whole funnel doesn't matter. Secondly, you need a really good lead magnet, something tangible. Why should the lead opt in, right? They want something free. In this case, if you're looking to get listings, you're getting a seller guide, right? And so the metric here is you want a 1% click-through rate. So if 100 people watch your ads, the metric here, the measure is if one person clicks, a 1% click-through rate, it's great. Now,
okay.
YouTube,
I'm just gonna pause for 1 sec, and I just want to provide some in case people here haven't done online marketing or aren't sure of some of these terms.
Sorry, I'm going. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So this is awesome. The hook and the 5-second thing. So on YouTube, you can skip past the ad after 5 seconds. Okay, correct. So your goal is to get them to actually continue watching by saying something really compelling in like the first 3 seconds. That's your hook. And then when he says lead magnet, you can't put up an ad saying, hey, watch this ad really quick because I'm a super great agent, and if you watch this ad and click the button, you have to sell your house with me. That's way too much of a commitment for 3 seconds. So what you need to do is you need to make some intermediary thing that they want. That's your lead magnet, and that's going to get your permission to follow up with them. Okay, so they have to enter their contact info.
That's correct. And a winning hook, guys, is you need a trigger. And so what kind of triggers? Fear, pain, desire, curiosity, right? So if you can trigger somebody with any of those, you've got a good hook. And so before I show you our best performing hook, I want to say that YouTube ads specifically, when you run it, it does the 3 A's, whether it's paid or organic, right? And what are the 3 A's? One, it makes you the authority figure, okay? Secondly, it makes you accessible. And third, it makes you attractive, right? And Sean and Mitch, you guys know this, but the top 2 problems that most Americans have with realtors, right, is that their agent is not communicative enough and they're not knowledgeable enough. So with these 3 A's, you're the authority figure, you're accessible, and you're attracting leads. You're already dispelling this, right? So let me quickly show you guys one of our best performing hooks. Can you see my screen? Right here? Yeah. Okay. Oh. Can you hear?
No.
Yeah.
You need to, when you share, you need to hit the share audio also. It's a little check mark. You might need to stop screen sharing and then start screen sharing.
Oh,
so hit the share button again. And then when you select your screen, there's also a check mark. It should be off to the right-hand side is where mine is.
Got it.
Awesome.
Got it. Here we go.
Do not sell your Raleigh house before doing this. If you do this one little thing before selling your house in this current market, you'll instantly increase its value.
So that hook, the reason it works so well is the trigger we're using is curiosity, right? So if you're in market, because keep in mind, these ads are going to folks that are Googling, best realtor near me, agencies near me, right? So these ads are going directly to them. So if I'm looking to sell my home and I come across this ad, don't do this one thing before selling. What is that one thing I need to know, right? So that's a good hook, okay? And so when they opt, so again, your click-through rate needs to be at least 1%. So if 100 people watch your ads, if one person clicks, you're good, okay? If your CTR, your click-through rate is under 1%, that means your hook is not strong enough and or your lead magnet is not strong enough, okay? Now, when they click learn more, they fall into a landing page right here. And so with the landing page, this is where you exchange your lead magnet for their information. When they opt in, they officially become a lead because now they have information, right? And so with an opt-in, what you want to focus here is 15%. So if 100 people get onto this landing page, you need 15 people to opt in, okay? And if you drop below 15%, 80% of it is the headline. And so what we do is repurpose the hook. It's called a retrigger. So they opt in and they're like, do not sell your Raleigh home before I'm doing this. You're like, oh, right. What is that one thing? Let me put in my information. so I can get the lead magnet. And keep in mind, the lead magnet, I don't want you guys to think that it's like, it's God sent. The lead magnet is just an excuse. So when they give you the information, you can call and reach out and you can say, hey, how was the lead magnet? Did you like it? Right? Keeping conversation, right? You're building rapport, you're building trust. Once they enter their information and they became a lead, they fall into your calendar. Check your email to get a guide. And then now this is where they book an appointment straight to your calendar, okay? Because a seller guide is great, but they're not going to understand it, right? If you get an MRI, somebody gives you an X-ray, what's that to you? You got to set an appointment with a doctor anyway, right? So back to the funnel right here. That is essentially the A to Z funnel. Now, that's in a perfect world where people will opt in all the way to your calendar. Now, what if they just put in their information, but they don't book in the calendar? And this is
Probably
where
80% of people, 90% of people, I'd imagine, don't opt into the calendar, right?
that is correct, Sean, which is why we built an incredible follow-up system. We all know this. Fortune is in the follow-up. There it is, okay? And so I'll give you guys another stat before I show you the follow-up system. And so when a lead opts in, if you don't call them within 15 minutes, the chances of converting them drops down 400%. I'll repeat that. If you don't call your lead within 15 minutes, converting them drops down to 400%. Okay. So you got to call them, you got to email them, you got to text them. Okay. So let me show you guys what I like to call our golden follow-up system. Here it is. So it's a little small. Here, give me 1 second. So
No,
this
give
is our
us
golden
like
follow-up
the
process.
10,000-foot flyby anyways, Bowie, because we've got to make sure that we get to Tom in the next like 3 or 4 minutes. So just give us like
Okay.
the
overview.
Surmise what you have here.
Cool. So this and I'm happy to give this out to everybody for free. Essentially, you're really, really aggressive. Day one, you're double dialing. And I'll just say this, it's important to double dial, because if you don't double dial, you'll never get through. When your phone's on do not disturb, you have to double dial. The double dial breaks it. And so double dial, double dial, double dial. So you just got to, and a lot of agents are like, oh, this is very aggressive. What you can say is like, look, if you want aggressive offers, this is the style. This is the playbook. And so follow up. And so let's say, last thing I'll say, I'll wrap up the entire funnel. So let's say you run the whole funnel. They don't opt into they opt in, but they don't book into your calendar. And we do the follow-up process and crickets, right? Do not fret. Then the last part is doing retargeting. So these are folks that have already opted in, but haven't really gotten there yet, right? This is back to the 11 touch points. So we rerun the ads to the same people, but the ads would be testimonials, right? So in this case, it'll be like, oh, Sean sold my home in 3 minutes for top dollar. Like, he's so great, right? So we run those ads and then we rinse and repeat. Simple as that.
Awesome.
That is the entire playbook. And the last thing that I'll say is that I don't want you guys to think that, oh, I'm going to run paid ads and I'm good to go. No, I think that, if you're a new agent, you should cold call. You should continue to do that. This is more so like a level 2 once you are really good at closing, because the last thing you want to do is get all these appointments and just not close any of them, right? And so I think that, organic content's important. If you do both, you're not going to fail. Like, you're golden. So
I love that you said that too, Bowie. I actually talk about this a lot because we teach a lot of the basics when we teach general courses. We're like, yeah, knock on doors, talk to your friends, like just get with your people and you'll do okay if you just do that. But then at a certain point, you get busy and it's really hard to get out for 10 hours a week and knock on doors or do open houses. You're constantly serving people. And so we talk a lot about level 2 marketing. And to me, level 2 lead generation. To me, it's marketing, it's networking, it's those highly leveraged things, it's seminars, things that are a little bit of a higher skill level that you need to really develop yourself to get really good at. And something like this, it's complicated. And I can just tell you guys, I've arguably got a fair bit of experience in real estate. And I was like, I don't need Bowie. Besides, I'm a geek. I enjoy checking this stuff out. And I totally built a YouTube ad and pumped a bunch of money into it. Zero came from that. So it does take expertise in the creation and the editing side. It takes a lot of work to follow up. And he was kind and kind of rushing through his follow-up funnel, but I'll give you the gist. Like, after a lead comes in, they double dial, so call twice in a row, 3 times the first day. They email and text the next day. They call again 3 times the next. Like, it's intense, because people are just used to being completely overwhelmed with correspondence nowadays. So it's a lot of work, and there's a real world for people who do what you do, Bowie. Thank you. Now, we got a couple people in the chat who asked if they could have a copy of all that. Feel free, Bowie, if you're comfortable, drop your email or some way that they can get in touch, and maybe you'll send them some stuff that they can tinker with. And we'll also pause for a couple questions. Does anyone have questions? We kind of went through a lot of high-level stuff there. I'm not sure if it all made sense. I see Eddie's got his hand up. My man, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, just being bald.
Don't ever change.
Okay. I'm just curious. Your system. I mean, I already have a YouTube channel. And what do? Do you embed that system into the channel, or do you run YouTube commercial ads, and then you have that hook? Does that hook in the thumbnail and in the title, and it gets searched out? I'm just a little fuzzy.
No, good. These are all great questions, Ed. So let me ask you this: like, what is your channel, your organic content channel, looking like? How many subs do you have, and how much time have you put into it so far? Before I dive into the specifics,
I put in I shoot 1 video a week. It's more vlog style. I find what gets the most views is if I go into a house and shoot a little video. I'm experimenting a lot with a lot. I do vlogs. I do map videos. I do. It seems like whenever if I shoot a video about property, that seems to get the most eyeballs and the most impressions as well.
yeah,
It seems.
got it. Market analysis, the whole nine. Got it.
100,000 impressions or so. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's, to answer your question, it's technically 2 separate strategies that lives on the same platform. So if you're putting out organic content, just keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to do anything differently. Now, when you run YouTube ads, paid ads, you do it through Google. But to answer your question, why you want to do both is when you do the paid ads. Again, this is the biggest financial decisions folks need to make, right? So they're not going to be like, oh yeah, here you go, right? So what they do is they're going to opt in, and you're going to call them, and they're not going to pick up. And what they're going to do is Google you. And when they Google you, they're going to go onto your channel, and they're going to see your market analysis. They're going to see those videos, right? And so it's kind of, you're attacking from both angles. And that's why organic is so hard to track. And it's not like you get to get lead information. So keep doing what you're doing, right? Like, these guys are all teaching you great stuff. Put out content. And I'll be honest, I think 1 video a week is not nearly enough. I think you should be at least 2 to 3 a week. And this is something that I learned the hard way. Yeah, it's look, I'll say, with one thing, is just that, like, I'm a perfectionist. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to put the video out because, like, I'm not just put it out, right? Because by the time you put it out, you're at the bottom of the feed, right? And when you put it out, you just want to implement, right? And people would say, like, you can do better. So it's all about volume versus perfection, right? So just pump it out. Even if you're like, I don't look that great, I don't like that shirt, upload the video.
It's awesome. Thank you, Bowie. Okay, we've got one more question from Tej, and then we're going to jump into Mr. Tom Story.
Hi, my question is that what kind of videos should we be posting on YouTube? Like, it should be like any city specific, neighborhood specific, or like any niche we should be targeting? And what would be the longevity of the videos? How long would the videos? And
all of it.
Everything you just said.
All of it.
I'm hearing an accent. Do you speak a second language?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So whatever that second language is, you should be doing a ton of videos being like, the title should be, that language real estate agent, this city, that language real estate agent, this city. If you're a specific, I'm married to a Sikh Indian, so Sikh Indian real estate agent in wherever, and he's done a video at every Indian restaurant in the valley. So like you want to do it's you're going to do as many videos as you can, but where your specialty lies for you in particular is whatever that language is. How many in your city? There's 800 real estate agents. How many real estate agents speak your language?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you got to figure out what that is about you. We all have this. If you're going to do organic, you have this unique characteristic about you that if I say there's 800 agents in real estate agents in Pomona, my city, there are 800 real estate agents. Okay. But there are only 25 that are gay. There are only 12 that are gay and white. There are only one who's gay, white, and Jewish.
Okay.
Right?
Mitch can't help. He's like, I'm gonna coach. Well, we gotta jump to our last guest. There is one thing I just need to address quickly before we do that. We had someone mention that they were making videos of houses. As an industry, please, for the love of God, people, stop going into people's homes without permission and filming the inside of their homes. You are not allowed to do this. There is like case after case right now of realtors rightfully being absolutely flamed and fined by their administrations for going into people's homes and taking videos of themselves inside someone's home without permission. Please stop doing this. It makes us all look like trash bags. It's not a good thing. Please stop. Okay. Tom, thank you so much for being patient. I'm going to ask you to do me the same favor that Bowie did. I'm going to do a little adjusting of my pins. Can you put your virtual hand up in the air for me, mister? There you are. All right, guys, here he is. The big cheese, the Mac Disney. I'm a total fangirl of yours, Tom. I think you're just awesome. I love what you've done with your YouTube channel. And guys, this is like where, if you're trying to build an organic YouTube channel, correct me if I'm describing it wrong, this is where a lot of us would like to get to. You're crushing it, buddy. Thank you so much for being here and making time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm pumped to talk about this. I love this topic.
It's so cool. And I think the thing that's so neat about it is it's one of those, like, you got to work at it and you got to work hard and you got to do it it's like having a 6-pack and being a nice person. Like, so few people actually achieve that, right? So kudos and yeah, thanks. What I'd love to do is, if you don't mind, just give us like a 10,000-foot flyby of who you are, maybe first.
Yeah, sure. So I live in Toronto in Canada. I run a team of 5 other realtors. Typically we'll sell 100 to 125 homes a year, and the GCI goal is always over 2 million because our price point is a little bit higher. Obviously, I spend a lot of money in my business as well. Been doing this for 10 years. YouTube has been a big part of my business. The last 3 years is when I got really serious about it. Like most people in 2021, we made a lot of money because the market was really good. And I was very understanding that if I just followed what I was doing previously, mathematically sales volume was going to go down. I needed new blood in my business. I don't want to knock on doors personally, not saying I shouldn't, saying I don't want to. So I'm like, okay, I have this little thing over here that's kind of working. Let's just go all in on that. And all my videos are organic. I don't spend money on them. So it's just a different strategy. And I actually thought it'd be kind of cool. I'll just share my screen and show you the back end of my channel to show you, like, I want to start with like how powerful this can be. So,
all right. And do me a favor too, Tom.
Yeah.
Bowie came right out the gate with shots fired. He was like straight out, like, spray and pray, organic is blah, blah, blah. So give us the counter argument to that. Show us what you've been up to.
So if you look at my screen here, this is showing the back end of my YouTube channel since the first time I ever posted a video, okay? And you can see I only started getting views at all. This was around 2021, September of 2021. So my channel's received 2 million views. YouTube's paid me about 10 grand. I'm not that interested in that. That's nice, but I don't care. We just crossed $1 million in GCI from YouTube over the past 3 years for our team. So again, my average commission is over $20,000. So I should make that clear. but we've sold now over 80 properties from YouTube in the last 3 years. 70% are buyers, right? So just to keep in mind, and with all the new regulations in the States, obviously understanding that, but it's been really cool. And then what's kind of happened when we look at the analytics and what's actually working, if you actually look at my channel, and this is like what the channel would look like, you can see we have a vibe that we work with here, a template that we work with. The thumbnails are never the exact same word that's in the title. It's slightly different with this one thing that will grab their attention. It's me in every single one. You have to be more than half the image. So it's actually you that they're clicking on. Like you can't be like some small thing in the corner. And we post 4 types of videos, and I can tell you which ones grow the channel versus which ones get you appointments, but you kind of have to play the game. And with Bowie, I'm sure in your previous life of talent, it's like you would tell your clients, hey, do this one, for you, and do this one for the studio so that you can do more of what you actually want to do for yourself, right? That's kind of how I look at YouTube. So there's 4 types of videos that I post. The first is obvious. It's market update videos. That's pretty straightforward. Every single 30 days, I have new information about my market. I just did one recently, 4 days ago. You can see it's about 8,600 views on our condo market. And basically, I'm just sharing my screen, going through what's happening in the condo market. So that's the first type. The second type of video is what we would call a news headline breakdown video. So again, I'm in Canada. Our mortgage rules changed. I did a 6-minute video just talking about all the different mortgage rules, my opinion on it. That's at about 10,000 views. And people are very passionate about these, especially if there's a headline that's like so outrageous. Use it. Like an editor already wrote that. That's now the title of your video. Also, by the way, Google picks that up and your video starts populating under the actual headline on Google, and people are typing things in. So external views is an interesting way that we're getting as well without paying. News headline breakdown videos don't get me any appointments. What they do get me is a ton of people showing up, a ton of people liking, commenting, subscribing, and it's growing the channel. Because even if you're really good at what you do, I found with organic, if only 5 other views are there, someone might be like, I like this guy, I want to reach out to him, but I don't feel comfortable enough because no one else is here. So I do those videos just to get the people to show up. Then, and I'll show you the back end here to show you how powerful this is. This is the thing that I love the most. It'll show you in the last 48 hours how many views you got and where they actually came from. And I have over 400 videos now over the last few years, so I have that actual data. And I'll show you. Now, these are my 2 most recent videos, so that makes sense why they're performing. This video is the 3rd example I want to give you. These are the keys to getting appointments. Think about this like, that masterclass app you've paid for and forgotten to use, right? To learn how to cook or something like that. I make masterclass style videos for people step by step through the process. So this video has had 252 views in the last 48 hours. And it's a step-by-step guide on how to buy your first property in Canada. It's 32 minutes long. I'll be honest with you guys, it's super boring. But if you're someone that falls in that category and you watch me for 30 minutes and I taught you everything, there's a good chance if you need a real estate agent, you'll probably connect with me. So these videos don't do well on views relative to my other ones, but they do really, really well for appointments. And just to really push that through, this video here, it got 75 views in the last 48 hours. I posted this January 20th, 2023. It's literally almost 2 years old. It's called the Ultimate Toronto Condo Buyer's Guide. I think it's at like 18,000 views now. Without exaggerating, I think I've sold 25 properties from this one video.
Well, look at the one below it is 2021.
Well, and I'll get back to that. Yeah. So this one is 44 minutes. It's like it's like I'm talking to a buyer, they're buying a condo. I'm just going to talk to my screen and talk about everything I would want them to know if they were in that position. So like I'm showing them I actually know what I'm talking about, right? And then this one down here, I actually noticed this. I'm like, holy crap, why are people watching this video from 2021? So I actually remade this video, and now this video is this video, which I posted about 2 weeks ago. I just made it way longer, better edited, and much more informative and up to date. So all I have to do now is like figure out what was performing previously. So I've told you the first 3, which is news headline, market update, educational guides. The final one is the list videos. So you can see another one that always performs well. Again, I sell a lot of condos in Toronto. My 10 best condo video, that's actually the second version I've made. I remade it because the first one was performing so well. And just to like push home how well these videos do for Evergreen is when this first video that I put up started doing really well, I actually got a little bit cocky and I went, well, maybe I'll make like the worst condos video. And it immediately did 25,000 views and I got 2 cease and desist letters from management. Now, that's a funny story, but the point is like my opinion, someone in a room somewhere said, that's bringing down the value of our property. Let's try to scare him. Now, none of the 10 on the top 10 list sent me thank you letters, right? But just to like give you an idea, it's like, it's interesting. You think your opinion doesn't matter. Nobody's watching. I started with nobody watching. And then it slowly kind of built up. So those are the 4 videos. You can see we have a style that we do in terms of what the thumbnails look like, what the titles look like. And our big thing is just like, make sure they show up, make sure you're giving them valuable information, and tell them what to do next. So in the first 30 seconds of every single video, thank you so much for watching. If you learned anything new today, all I ask is you hit like and subscribe to this channel. Also, if you are looking for more information or to connect with the Toronto Real Estate Pro, you can go into the first link in the description and book a call with me. The first link in the description is Calendly. I only give them 3 options: buyer call, seller call, or discovery call. A discovery call, by the way, is just a buyer call or a seller call in disguise because they don't want to fully commit yet. That's all it is. And I want to give you a little bit behind the scenes here. Like, you know, don't share this, but this is my Calendly booking just going back to August. Like, I'm getting several of these every single week. So this year we've done 24 sales from YouTube. Last year we ended the year at 31. I want to get over 30 again this year. And then the final thing before, I know, Sean, you got lots more questions, but there's this guy named Evan Carmichael. And I don't know if you've heard of him. I'll show you. He was very early on YouTube. He has just under 4 million subscribers. Any thought leadership podcast you've ever listened to, there's a good chance Evan was behind it in some way, editing or running the back end of their channel. I got a chance to go meet with Evan. I actually went to his house here in Toronto, and I kind of walked in all cocky, being like, you know, my channel's not big, but I don't care about the numbers. I'm a business owner and it gives me opportunities. And Evan watched my videos in front of me and just absolutely picked them apart. I was like, this sucks. I wouldn't watch this. What are you talking about? So he's like, I'm just going to give you some advice, because you're losing anyone that doesn't already know you. You're going to lose them in that first 30 seconds. And that retention is so important, right? So, you know, just what Bowie was talking about. So all I've changed in the last 3 months since working with Evan is the videos begin with a powerful opinion. So anything. So let's say it's in my market, condo prices are going down. If I start the video and say, hey, welcome back to the channel, condo prices might be going down, I'm copping out. It's like, no. Condo prices are going down in Toronto. It's like, that's the hook. That's the powerful opinion. Followed up with a context sentence. I know this because nobody sold more condos in downtown Toronto than our team in the last 12 months. And I've seen it on the selling and buying side. So now I'm backing up what I said. And then you're raising the stakes, which this is what gets them to stick around for the rest of the video. You know, if you don't fully understand the fundamentals of what's happening right now in the condo market, you might be sitting on the market as a stale listing with no showings at all. Or if you're a buyer, you might be jumping at the wrong time and perhaps spending too much money. So like now it's like, holy shit, prices are going down. He said why they're going down. And oh my God, now the stakes have been raised. And after that, Evan was like, say whatever you want. You've got them in. Then you can do your typical video, which is I have 3 things that I talk about. I wrap it up. You always try to push them to another video so they stay within the channel. And that's basically what this is. I post once or twice a week. We also have a more long form podcast channel. I don't know if you wanted to get into that, but I can show you that as well. All of this is just about being consistent. So we have a separate channel that's just a real estate podcast. That's got over 5,000 subscribers and we post every Sunday. And we're on episode 128. So like every single Sunday forever, and we bring on guests. And now this is starting to really grab people in as well. And what's cool is when they book the consultations, I've now asked them very specific questions on how they heard about us. I used to have nothing here. Now it asks them, how did you hear about us? Already a client, referred by a friend, YouTube. I send flyers. I listen to the podcast, saw Tom on the news because I do a lot of news stuff. Even if there's no chance they got me from any of these other things other than YouTube, I want them to see it because they're like, whoa, this guy's everywhere. I could have found him everywhere, but I ended up finding him here. So it's almost like you're promoting your brand before they even book the appointment. And what we're noticing now is every single person that books a calendar with me, because we only use this for inbound. I don't get my past clients to book showing stuff. I call them directly. But inbound new leads, we just focus on this, and every single one is clicking YouTube or the podcast. And last year, the conversion numbers, this is where it's different, but a lot more energy involved than just the paid. We had about 115 appointments confirmed through Calendly, and about, I'd say 10% are totally waste of time, but the rest are pretty good. We sold 31 properties from 115 appointments. So the conversion rate's like 25% to firm sale from YouTube views, but you got to be like invested in this. This is like my third biggest lead pillar that we focus on.
You use the word invested, which is the perfect segue, because like you got really serious 3 years ago, but you've been doing this for what, 5 years, 6 years?
Yeah, I used to post on YouTube just so it would show up on my website. It was literally just like a place so the video could be hosted so I could send it to my database. And then people started watching it there. And I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah. Maybe I should make things specifically for that.
No, actually, this is the second time or third time that I bugged you to come and talk to one of my groups. And actually, 2021 was when we had you out at that event. So it was right around the time that, yep. And I remember you showed us in that event, it was like, you'd really just started the hockey stick, and I'm sure that hockey stick today would look like a little blip compared to what you've grown, but maybe walk us through, like, what did you change or start doing that started the growth?
Posting more, which sounds kind of obvious. I spent money in my basement and built a studio. So I have a place, like I'm in my office today, not my house, but I have a studio at home that I have a camera, 2 professional lights, a backdrop, all set up. I film everything through Ecamm Live. It doesn't save to a memory card. It goes to my computer. It's all in one place. I sit down and click record and talk. So once I did that, it's like now when I have an idea, I don't have to set up the camera gear and think about this and do this and sync my audio to my video. And I used to spend hours wasting time on that. Now it's like I've removed all the hurdles. I have an idea. I sit down, I talk. And all my videos, the way I do it, by the way, is I just talk to the camera for 10 to 15 minutes, including all the screw ups. I never stop recording. I get one big file, and then you just cut out the ums and ahs along the way.
Awesome. You said you started posting more. How much are you posting? Like Bowie was like, once a week isn't enough. But you're doing bigger, chunkier videos. How often are you actually?
Well, that's the thing. Now I've gotten more into like, now that I've built the audience, I'm okay to post once a week if it's a 30-minute, like I did one called, Canadians are breaking their mortgages. Because if you have a rate over 6%, it makes sense to break it right now. And I just interviewed a mortgage broker for half an hour. I had it professionally edited, so it was like a bit more engaging to watch. That's at like 55,000 views, which is crazy, all organic. Now, because I did that, I didn't post again for about 9 days because I was like, this video is this is doing great. And we had one before, like in the States, if you want to start your channel with a video that will pop, like the best one I did over here was the Bank of Canada is about to shock the housing market. You could say like the Fed just shocked the housing market. That's like a headline that gets people to show up, and then you get people there, and then you can like build off that audience.
Awesome. I'm trying to make notes while I go. Appreciate you, man. Okay, well, take us back, and we just talked about some of the stuff that you changed when you first started seeing a lot more growth.
Yeah.
What do you wish someone told you to do when you were first starting out? Like, would you do creative, cool stuff that Mitch is doing? Would you throw some money maybe at like, just say, hey, you know what, $10 a day will help me boost organically? Like, what would be some of the things that you do to get the wheel turning?
Yeah, if I was going to do paid and organic, this is just my personal opinion, I would probably set up 2 different accounts. I would set up a separate YouTube channel for all the paid stuff so it doesn't mess with my analytics on the organic side. That's probably what I would do. But no, listening to the first half of this, I'm like, oh crap, if I could just add in the paid stuff to what I'm already doing, that would be way better. It just has been working
too much business, Tom. If you did that, you'd have too much business.
I got 5 agents.
You
that
won't
can
have a life.
service it. Yeah. And by the way, I don't show properties. I probably should have said that.
Can I jump in on that though? What you said about what I would do differently?
Yeah.
Like I heard this. I heard it in a different way, but I heard this. I was a real estate agent for about 6 months and I took this mastermind class and I was with a woman who ran the video before you watch the movies. So you go to the movies, you sit down with your popcorn, and she ran the video. And I was making fun of her because I was like, that video is old, girl. Those are kids. Your kids are like in college now. Like, how long have you been running this video? She goes, 20 years. And I said to her, how many deals have you done? And she said, none. And I was like, what? And she goes, but when I'm at the grocery store, people walk up to me. When I go knock on doors, people talk to me. When I'm at the baseball field for my kids' little league, people come and talk to me. That's why I run it. It took me 3 more years to even hear that. So I think if I had to go back in time, I would be like, you got a farm and you are the product. Someone put in the chat, and you said this, Tom, you're like, the video is me. Tom is the product. Mitch is the product, right? And I learned that. I've taken it to the step, like even my postcards, like it's not a picture of a house, it's a picture of me. I'm the product. Because I sell that house, I don't have that product anymore. And so if you're going to get into video, you got to get comfortable being in front of a camera.
Agreed. And the thing is too, like, here's what I actually think about all of this. If you genuinely believe you're really good at what you do, right? You are doing the people in your marketplace a disservice by not being better at marketing, because you're allowing them to connect with people that are going to give them 3-star experiences, other than, like, honestly, be selfish. Be like, I'd feel so bad for those other people if they walked into an open house and worked with that agent instead of finding me on YouTube to let me like really walk them through this process. Like, but you got to believe it first.
Yeah, and not only that, but if you think about it, like, you've got that person who got all that value, felt connected to you, but they also watched a 40-minute video of you explaining the buying process. That's your buyer presentation. Like, you just literally took all that work, you cooked all that information into them. It's such an amazing piece of leverage.
I'll also say, like, when you get the calls, because I had 2 yesterday, I actually had 1 this morning. They're very happy to talk with you. Like, they feel like they know you. And it's other than repeat and referral, the best business I've ever had come in. They convert very quickly. Because, by the way, by the time they reach out to me, they're ready to go. If they're watching my YouTube videos, they're watching other people's as well. I'm aware of that, but they've decided this is the guy I'm connecting with. We've now decided we're going to buy or sell a property. It's not like I'm getting them over here or up here on the funnel. It's like, it's kind of near the bottom. And usually we're converting in under 60 days once they book that appointment.
But Tom, are they seeing other videos? So my sales pitch, one of the questions, I wrote it down, was what impact in your listing presentations? When they tell me they're interviewing somebody else, my number 1 question is, oh, how many times have you seen my ad and how many times have you seen their ad?
Yeah, it's a good thing to bring up.
And they're like, oh, you're everywhere. Like, the last guy was like, I like to watch fishing videos and I can't watch the whole fishing video unless I see your commercial. And I'm like, so how many times do you think you've seen it? He's like, 50. And I said, the other person you're interviewing, he goes, well, he doesn't do commercials. I'm like, so who's going to advertise your house better? The guy who you can't get off your computer, or the guy that just, sent you a flyer? It also gets me more money in the listing presentation because I'm sitting there being like, I got this machine that's going to get you top dollar. You got to pay for it.
And because I tell sellers too, this is kind of off topic, but I say, don't hire me because I can put your property on MLS.
Right.
All of us can do that. Here's the 3 things that I have access to that nobody else does, right? And it's our investor list that we've built. It's the fact that we have a good reputation with other realtors, and actually our Instagram, because Instagram to me is just realtors that follow me anyways. And I get a bunch of DMs about our properties and if their buyers can come see it before it hits the market. So, and final thing I'll say,
sorry, go ahead.
If your videos start doing well on YouTube organically, I'm just going to give you all a heads up. Real estate agents aren't exactly like loved on the internet. So you're gonna get a lot of mean comments. Like it's just part of the game. I have no issue with people saying, I don't agree with that. Here's my opinion. All good. But there is some really mean stuff. And the greatest thing about YouTube is they have a little button beside it. You can click, it says remove user from channel, and poof, they disappear. They think their comment's still there, but nobody else can ever see it again.
Oh,
So,
I love my hate comments. I do videos about them.
that's actually a good idea. Yeah.
Don't you want that stuff on though? Because that kind of bumps the algorithm up though, the negative comments.
Yeah, I don't mind. And what's actually great is sometimes someone will say something. I don't really respond to the negative ones anymore, but sometimes another viewer will come in and say, no, you're wrong. Like people will stand up for me now in the comments, which is kind of neat. So yeah, as long as it's not like name calling or what, I have no issue with it. But yeah, a lot of people, you'll see some funny stuff. Yeah, the internet's pretty mad about housing prices.
You know what it is? They got to
comment-
follow kindergarten rules. Like you got to know how to talk to people nicely. If you want to debate the subject or the content, go for it. Okay, we are in the last like 8 minutes here, guys. I want to make sure that we give time for anyone else who wants to ask questions. We're all just kind of like excited and having a conversation here. So drop your questions in the chat, or even better, feel free to just unmute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, Mitch and Bowie, if you guys don't mind raising your hands again, I'm going to pin you both. And we're just going to make sure that we answer any questions that people have. But I'm going to go first. Oh, there you two are. Tom, how do people get in touch with you if they want to send you a referral in Toronto, or if they have a question, or they just want to say thank you so much for hanging out today? Can you drop something in the chat, or maybe talk about that a little bit?
I'll put my Instagram in the chat. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And by the way, like go to my YouTube channel, see what's working for me, and copy my ideas for your market. Like that's all I'm doing. You know, I'm just seeing what's working for other people and putting my own spin on it. And if you do it consistent enough, like you will get results. It's there.
I've got Mitch, if you don't mind, same question. How do people get in touch with you if they want to reach out? Where are you located?
I am in Southern California, so send me your snowbirds. But I also am Coach Mitch Stein on everything. So Coach Mitch Stein at Gmail, Coach Mitch Stein on YouTube, Coach Mitch Stein on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's all Coach Mitch Stein.
Awesome. Bowie, how about you?
Same as Tom. I'm going to drop my IG in the chat. You guys feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns. I'm here to help. So
we had a whole bunch of people who asked for a copy of your crazy algorithm. Then a bunch of them dropped their emails in the chat. Are you going to send that to them, or should they email you to ask for? What's easier for you?
If you guys can email, that'd be great. But I also I put everybody on a BCC, so you're all going to get the email all at once. Let me put my IG here. So I'm going to send the follow up. Happy to share it with you guys. You know,
So I think that one of the things we skipped over really fast, Sean, was that I was doing this all myself, and what I did was I went online and I found a professional to do it for me. That's how I found Bowie. I was doing. So here's the other thing: is if you aren't. The great thing about doing YouTube is you can learn everything you need to do about YouTube on YouTube, right? Mr. Beast has a channel where he tells you what to do. You brought up Evan will tell you what to do. That people on YouTube just love talking about how they got successful on YouTube. But me, my time, when I did the math, I hired Bowie.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. I think, you know, there are so many ways to skin a cat, right? There's so many ways to just generate leads, right? I think if you are starting out and, you know, you don't really have access to putting money on platforms, then, you know, do the organic stuff. You have to. You have to. Even if you like, once you get to Tom's level and you have the subs, when you run paid ads, it's going to be a whole run, because the second they click on his profile, he's legitimate, right? So what you want to do is prep yourself. Like today, I want everybody here to really just jot down ideas, go on Tom's channel, look at what's working for him, right? And say, you know, repurpose it, you know, top 10 condos or whatever, like post it, right? And then once you start to get some traction, then you can when you convert Take that money, don't buy that car you want, reinvest it into ads, okay? Don't get that BMW thinking you have to pull up and look nice, okay? Put that back into ads. It takes money to make money.
Awesome. True story. I had one of the best years of my sales career driving this truck that I just didn't want to let go of because I put a really nice stereo in it. It had 326,000 kilometers on it, and I crushed the competition. You don't need a fancy car. And I just want to address one other question we had. Someone asked where they can find a recording of this. Here's another YouTube tip, guys. You can put stuff out there, but if you don't actually yourself tell anyone about it, it's not going to move as quickly. So shamelessly go out and ask people to follow your YouTube channel. So we actually made a choice, and we don't email out these recordings anymore. You know why, guys? Because if you want this recording, you're going to have to subscribe to my YouTube channel where we post these recordings. It'll be posted in the next couple days, and I'm going to just drop it in the chat. Okay, I want to ask each of our amazing guests to just share one last thing that you would say to someone who's, you know, getting started, wanting to grow. We just heard from, well, who cares? Who wants to go first? Someone say something.
I love talking. So just do it. Like, whatever you're gonna put out there, it's gonna be rough, and you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna put stuff out there, but also mistakes are human. And when you are talking to someone in person, it's the same thing. And if you are really just struggling taping yourself, it's always easier to tape with someone else, right? So set up the camera, have you guys both looking at the camera, have some sort of conversation about a subject, and put it up there. And it'll get you that used to being in front of the camera. The way you get used to being in front of a camera, get in front of a camera. The way you get used to door knocking, knock on a door, right? Practice, practice, practice. And fail forward. Fail a lot. Fail miserably, because that's when you learn.
Listen to Mr. Beast, and he says that the first year, 2 years, 3 years of his videos were absolutely horrible. And he's like, I don't care. I just kept making videos. Bowie, what would you say to someone getting started?
I have three simple things really quickly, just to piggyback off of what Mitch has said, and it's a good framework that I use. It's I am so excited to get no's from my prospects, because I know that, you know, no's are inevitable. So like, I know that every 100 no's, I'm going to get to my one yes. Okay. So when you're cold calling, whatever the case may be, keep going, right? It's just a numbers game. And then lastly, I'll say is stick to one. Don't cold call, then door knock. Like, stick to one, get really good at it, and then go to the other. So if you're doing organic videos like Tom, stick to that. Say, all right, 4 hours, that's all I'm going to do. Cold calling, dominate. Door knocking, dominate. Because what you're doing is spreading all your energy, and like you're kind of like, you know, because when you're cold calling, you're like, is this line working? And then you're door knocking, so you're testing so many different variables, nothing works, right? So I would say stick to one thing, get really good at it. Then when you convert, go on to a next lead gen.
Thank you. All right, Tom.
I posted my first video December 2015. It was a 3-minute market update to my database. So I thought I started making videos thinking I just want my people to remember who I am. Because in my opinion, the average person in North America only needs a realtor like 5% of the time that they're going to be alive, right? So just 95% of the time they don't care about us. I want them to remember who I am, that 5%. The benefit of it immediately was, okay, those people were watching, but then other people in the industry started watching. My second biggest lead pillar is actually inbound realtor referrals from other markets in Canada and the US. That's huge for us. And I think more than anything, even if you post videos and nobody watches for the first little bit, you are going to become a better real estate agent because you are doing research to understand what's happening in your market. That alone is probably worth it. So that's what I would say.
Well, Tom, you just said you posted that video in 2021 and you said no one was watching it, and 60 people watched it yesterday.
It's crazy. It's crazy how quick. And once you build some momentum, I went from 10 to 15,000 subscribers in less than a year. but it took a long time to get to 5.
But that's what I want you when you get desperate and you're like, this is not working. Remember, you're building something that's going to last for 5 to 7 years. Tom's video that he made in 2021 got 60 views yesterday. It's still it took you how long to make that video in 2021?
Probably less than an hour.
So in less than an hour, 4 years later, he's still getting 60 people a day to watch it. Is it worth it?
And they're all first-time home buyers, which is what we want.
How many
in this
times
market.
how many times did you knock on a door for an hour and 4 years later someone called you and said, "Hey, you knocked on my door 4 years ago and I remembered you." Doesn't happen. Or I saw your Instagram post where you were dancing with the cat. Doesn't happen.
So put your dancing cat videos on YouTube. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. A big thank you, especially to our 3 awesome guests. You guys crushed it. I know that I've got like a whole page of notes, and off we go. I hope at least 1 or 2 people actually take this and run with it. I know that it's a big, long, hard push, and at the same time, I know if you do it, you're going to see a lot come from it. So I guarantee it'll be worth it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone for being here. And I'm going to set you all free. Cheers.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
You're all right.